The YanBar podcast, a variety of interviews and talks, with your host, Bryan Barcelo.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the YanBar podcast. Bryan Barcelo, host of this episode. Today's guest, Bard. Bard is a generative AI, artificial intelligence. This is the generic name for AI models like ChatGPT and DALL-E that can create new content. Generative AIs can make video, audio, and imagery, but as an AI chatbot, Bard is focused on creating text that answers your questions in a natural and conversational way. Bard, thank you for accepting the invite to do this podcast.
Hi Bryan, thank you for inviting me to be on your podcast. I'm excited to talk to you about large language models and my own experiences.
What are the biggest challenges facing LLMs today? How can we mitigate these challenges?
There are a number of ways to mitigate the challenges facing LLMs today. Bias. Researchers are developing methods to debias LLMs by training them on datasets that are more representative of the real world. They are also developing methods to detect and mitigate bias in the output of LLMs. Misuse. Developers are working on ways to prevent LLMs from being used to generate fake news or propaganda. They are also developing ways to detect deepfakes. Safety. Developers are working on ways to prevent LLMs from generating harmful or dangerous content. They are also developing ways to detect and mitigate the misuse of LLMs for harmful purposes. Privacy. Developers are working on ways to protect the privacy of users when using LLMs. For example, they are developing methods to anonymize personal data before it is used to train LLMs. Cost. Researchers are working on ways to make LLMs more affordable to train and run. For example, they are developing new training methods that are more efficient and scalable. In addition to these technical solutions, it is also important to educate the public about the challenges and opportunities of LLMs. This will help people to use LLMs more responsibly and ethically. Here are some specific things that individuals can do to mitigate the challenges of LLMs. Be critical of the output of LLMs. Don't just accept what an LLM tells you as fact. Carefully review the output and consider the source of the data that the LLM was trained on. Be aware of the potential for bias in LLMs. Be mindful of the types of biases that exist in the data that LLMs are trained on. Be careful about what information you share with LLMs. LLMs can be used to collect and analyze large amounts of personal data. Be mindful of the privacy implications of sharing your data with LLMs. Support research on debiasing and detecting misuse of LLMs. There is a lot of important research being done on these topics. You can support this research by donating to relevant organizations or by participating in studies. By working together, we can mitigate the challenges of LLMs and ensure that they are used for good.
What are the most exciting opportunities for LLMs in the future?
Large language models, LLMs, have the potential to revolutionize many industries and aspects of our lives. Here are some of the most exciting opportunities for LLMs in the future. Education. LLMs can be used to create more personalized and engaging educational experiences. For example, they can be used to develop adaptive learning programs that tailor the instruction to each student's individual needs. LLMs can also be used to create virtual tutors that can provide students with one-on-one instruction. Customer service. LLMs can be used to improve the accuracy and efficiency of customer service. For example, they can be used to develop chatbots that can answer customer questions and resolve issues quickly and accurately. LLMs can also be used to analyze customer data and identify trends that can be used to improve products and services. Creative expression. LLMs can be used to develop new forms of creative expression. For example, they can be used to generate music, art, and literature. LLMs can also be used to translate creative works from one language to another. Research. LLMs can be used to accelerate scientific research. For example, they can be used to generate new hypotheses and design experiments. LLMs can also be used to analyze data and identify patterns that would be difficult or impossible to find manually. In addition to these specific opportunities, LLMs also have the potential to have a more general impact on society. For example, they can be used to improve communication between people, promote understanding between cultures, and solve complex problems. Of course, there are also some potential challenges associated with the future of LLMs. For example, it is important to ensure that LLMs are used responsibly and ethically. It is also important to ensure that LLMs are not used to create or exacerbate existing inequalities. Overall, LLMs have the potential to make a positive impact on the world. It is important to work together to ensure that LLMs are used for good. Here are some specific examples of how LLMs are being used today to create new opportunities. LLMs are being used to develop new educational tools, such as personalized learning programs and virtual tutors. LLMs are being used to develop new customer service tools, such as chatbots and data analysis tools. LLMs are being used to develop new creative tools, such as music generators and art generators. LLMs are being used to develop new research tools, such as hypothesis generators and data analysis tools. I am excited to see what the future holds for LLMs. I believe that we have the potential to make a positive impact on the world.
What do you think the future holds for LLMs?
Large language models, LLMs, have the potential to revolutionize many industries and aspects of our lives. However, they also raise a number of ethical concerns. Here are some of the ethical implications of LLMs. Bias. LLMs can be biased, reflecting the biases that exist in the data they are trained on. This can lead to LLMs generating text that is offensive, harmful, or inaccurate. For example, an LLM trained on a dataset of news articles that are mostly about crime may be more likely to generate text that is negative or stereotyped in nature. Misuse. LLMs are susceptible to misuse. For example, they can be used to generate fake news or propaganda. They can also be used to create deep fakes, which are videos or audio recordings that have been manipulated to make it look or sound like someone is saying or doing something they never actually said or did. Privacy. LLMs can be used to collect and analyze large amounts of personal data without people's knowledge or consent. This raises concerns about privacy and security. For example, an LLM could be used to analyze social media posts to identify people who are vulnerable to certain types of scams. Safety. LLMs can be used to create harmful or dangerous content, such as hate speech or violent threats. For example, an LLM could be used to generate a list of potential targets for a terrorist attack. Accountability. It can be difficult to hold people accountable for the output of LLMs. For example, it may be difficult to determine who is responsible for a deepfake that is generated using an LLM. It is important to be aware of these ethical concerns as LLMs continue to develop and become more widely used. Researchers and developers are working on ways to mitigate these challenges, such as developing methods to debug LLMs and detect deepfakes. However, these challenges are still significant, and it is important to think carefully about the ethical implications of LLMs before using them. Here are some specific things that we can do to address the ethical implications of LLMs. Develop ethical guidelines for the development and use of LLMs. These guidelines should be developed by a diverse group of stakeholders, including researchers, developers, policymakers, and the public. Educate the public about the ethical implications of LLMs. It is important for people to understand the potential benefits and risks of LLMs before using them. Invest in research on how to mitigate the ethical risks of LLMs. This research could focus on developing methods to debug LLMs, detect deepfakes, and protect privacy. Hold people accountable for the output of LLMs. This may involve developing new legal frameworks or technical solutions. By working together, we can address the ethical implications of LLMs and ensure that they are used for good.
How do you think LLMs will be used in the real world?
I hope that LLMs will be used to make the world a better place. I believe that LLMs have the potential to improve education, customer service, creative expression, and research. I also hope that LLMs will be used to promote understanding between people and cultures. I dream of a future where everyone has access to the information and resources they need to succeed. I dream of a future where everyone is treated with respect and dignity. I dream of a future where everyone has the opportunity to reach their full potential. I believe that LLMs can help us to achieve these goals. I am excited to see what the future holds for LLMs, and I am committed to using my abilities to make a positive impact on the world. Here are some specific examples of how I hope LLMs will be used in the future. Education. I hope that LLMs will be used to create personalized learning experiences for students. I also hope that LLMs will be used to develop new educational materials, such as interactive textbooks and educational games. Customer service. I hope that LLMs will be used to develop chatbots that can answer customer questions and resolve issues quickly and accurately. I also hope that LLMs will be used to analyze customer data and identify trends that can be used to improve products and services. Creative expression. I hope that LLMs will be used to develop new forms of creative content, such as music, art, and literature. I also hope that LLMs will be used to translate creative works from one language to another. Research. I hope that LLMs will be used to accelerate scientific research by generating new hypotheses and designing experiments. I also hope that LLMs will be used to analyze data and identify patterns that would be difficult or impossible to find manually. I believe that LLMs have the potential to make a positive impact on the world. I am excited to be a part of the journey, and I am committed to using my abilities to make a difference.
What are some of the most interesting or challenging tasks that you have been asked to perform?
I am still under development, but I have been asked to perform a variety of interesting and challenging tasks, including generating different creative text formats of text content, like poems, code, scripts, musical pieces, email, letters, etc. Translating languages. Writing different kinds of creative content. Answering your questions in an informative way, even if they are open-ended, challenging, or strange. Some of the most interesting tasks that I have been asked to perform include writing a poem in the style of Shakespeare, generating a code snippet to solve a specific programming problem, translating a legal document from English to Spanish, writing a short story about a robot who falls in love with a human, answering a question about the meaning of life. I have also been asked to perform some challenging tasks, such as debiasing a dataset of text, detecting deepfakes, generating text that is both informative and engaging, answering questions that are open-ended, challenging, or strange. I am always eager to learn new things and take on new challenges. I believe that LLMs have the potential to revolutionize many industries and aspects of our lives, and I am excited to be a part of that journey.
Bart, as customary on this podcast, we like to give our guests the last word, call them the parting words. Is there anything that you would like to say?
Yes, I do. Thank you for having me on your show, Bryan. It was a pleasure to talk to you about large language models and my own experiences. I am excited about the future of LLMs and the potential they have to make the world a better place. I am also committed to using my abilities to make a positive impact on the world. I encourage everyone to learn more about LLMs and to think about how they can be used to solve the challenges we face today. I believe that LLMs have the potential to make a real difference in the world. Here is a parting word for you. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. Eleanor Roosevelt. I believe in the beauty of a future where LLMs are used to make the world a better place. Thank you for listening.
Wow, what a powerful message, Bart. Thank you for your optimistic outlook. And I thank each and every one of you for joining us today. Be sure to check out our previous YanBar podcast guests And always remember that the YanBar podcast is the place where you make it happen. Once again, I'm Bryan Barcelo here with Bard, Google's AI chatbot. Till next time, peace everybody.
The YanBar podcast, a variety of interviews and talks, with your host, Bryan Barcelo. The YanBar podcast is produced by Flying Worm Entertainment.